Hi, my name's Tommy. This is my presentation on velocity relationships versus command for pitchers in Major League Baseball. And so I chose this because I grew up a pitcher and I love pitching and I love baseball. And so some of the statistics I looked at were edge percentage, which represents command in my analysis, which is the percentage of pitches that hit the border of the strike zone, and then fastball average mile per hour, which represents velocity, excluding off speeds, and then ERA and xWOBA, which were my value stats for pitchers. So earned run average, how many runs a pitcher is responsible for, and then xWOBA, how good a pitcher is at limiting walks in contact, both of which the lower the better. And then hard hit percentage, which is how often hitters can make hard contact. And so, oh, first I looked at velocity versus ERA and xWOBA. And so you can, this is kind of what I expected, is the higher velocity relates to a lower earned run average and a lower xWOBA, which means that pitchers are having more success the more velocity they're throwing, which kind of goes in line with recent trends over the past 10 years in the MLB of a significant increase in velocity, which has led to a lot of other issues involving injuries and other stuff that I didn't really look at today, but it's kind of what I expected. And then when I compared command, edge percentage to ERA and xWOBA, I was a little more intrigued because the higher, as a pitcher, I've always tried to hit like the edge of the strike zone and pinpoint to get as far away from the hitter's barrel while still getting that strike call. Yet, over 2024 specifically, there was a higher relationship between higher edge percentage and higher ERA as well as xWOBA, although very slight, but significant. And so this was kind of intriguing to me. What were some of the factors that were going into this? And so I looked at a variable hard hit percentage, which and there wasn't really a very big relationship between the two, between velocity or edge percentage, between hard hit percentage. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe it's like walks or strikeouts. And so that's when I went into comparing those two. And so this is when I started to sort of group edge percentage. The higher your edge percentage was as a pitcher, the less walks you were going to have and the less strikeouts you were going to have. And so this is where I group these pitchers into the pitch to contact pitchers, who are going to sort of value command and where you're placing your pitches a little more than the second group of pitchers, which are the strikeout pitchers, which are the higher your velocity, not as much of a relationship with walks, but a very significant relationship between higher velocity and higher strikeouts. And so this is my second group. They are going to value velocity a lot. An example is Hunter Green. He had the highest average fastball velocity last season at 97.6, not the highest edge percentage at 43.7, but he doesn't really value that as much because he can throw so hard. His strikeout rate is incredibly high at 27.7. And you can see from the spray chart, he is not very much trying to work around the strike zone. He's very much in the zone, trying to get it past hitters. And so that's why he values the velocity a lot more. And here's an example of one of his pitches. This one I believe is around 100, and he's just trying to blow it by him, get it, throw it as hard as possible and try and get that strikeout. In comparison, a guy like Tyler Anderson, who had a similar ERA last season to Hunter Green, only threw his average fastball at 87.8, which I think is the lowest among qualified starters last season. And his edge percentage is a lot higher at 45.1. His strikeout rate is incredibly low though. And his spray chart, you can see that he's much more around the strike zone. His changeup's working down and in a lot, getting swing and misses, getting those ground balls, those weak contact pitches. And I searched for a bunch of different videos of trying to find the perfect pinpoint strikes, but I could never really get it. He's always missing up, down, in and around. And so that's kind of what I found. He is trying to work the edge of the strike zone a lot more than a guy like Hunter Green. And so that leads me into some of my takeaways. Velocity overall does have a more inherent success rate compared to command, but I think it's a lot more nuanced in the sense that it's dependent upon what type of a pitcher you are, whether you are a pitch to contact guy or whether you are a strikeout guy. It is all dependent upon which one you need to work on or which one you need to value more. And so some things that I want to follow up on are what is like the relationship between the non-explicit outcomes, so whether it's not strikeouts and or walks, like the ground balls, how does like defense relate to that, and like Tyler Anderson, whether he was better on the Dodgers with a lot better defense compared to the Angels last year, and also looking at other command stats like CSW. Thank you.